playful shit, you know what I'm saying? Like, just some social shit for everyone, you know what I'm saying? Like, I made this be myself, so hear me. Woo! I mean, like, we can pull that clown shit away. There's some real shit for you. I'm spazzing right now, so listen, let's go. Yeah. It's in their bones, the thugs in harmony for the love of the money. Then fall victim for the cookie, then turn pussy, it's lonely. You said you hold it down when life get rough, we're here now, so show me. We move them losses to them wins. Heavy pounds, we make it ends meet. Converse with only few who make me feel like I be 10 feet.
Yo, what's going on, people, man? Good afternoon to everybody over here on this side of the map. Hope everyone's blessed, man. Hope everyone's well. I know this ain't Liverpool talk, of course not. You guys can, of course, see what we're here to talk about. You know, I've got the Euro Club fourfold that I always bring to you guys every single week. And I said, you know what, man, I've got my guy Steve in the building. I said, nah, let's go live today, man. Let's just have a little chat, man, away from our own clubs, you know, so to speak, away from the Premier League just for a minute, because as we know, Premier League is coming back this weekend, but so is everything else. Do you know what I mean? It's not just the English football that is popping. Before I, of course, get into comments, guys, if you're watching this live, if you're watching this on the replay, bro, you know the vibes, man. Make sure you do hit that like button. I don't think you understand how important it is to hit that button for me. Please do that. We are on the road to 2K, and of course, make sure you subscribe to Double S. That's what I'm calling him, by the way, Steve. That's what I'm calling you Double S from now. I like it. I prefer it. I like the nicknames, so I'm gonna call you Double S. But make sure you subscribe over to Strasbourg Steve's channel, please. The link is there, and it will remain so in the chat. My bro, how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Still trying to lick my wounds after Strasbourg's maddening defeat to Lyon, which we'll get into. But but international ball was cool. Watched a few games. But yeah, looking forward to the club football coming back. That's for damn sure. So just excited to be here for this as well. So big up, man, for having me.
No, come on, bro, man. It's all love. I wanted to ask you this year before we, of course, dive into everything. Because you it's funny because I always have this, not back and forth, and big up Michael Torres, because I know he's a big, and yourself as well. You guys are big champions, you know, of like international football kind of thing. So I need you guys, and because it's not just me. Obviously, it's me here. It's only me here, one, but other people do feel the same. I need you guys to explain or champion why you like international football. Not saying you like it over club football or anything like that. I'm just saying why you like it. Because say, for example, like myself, when it comes to international football, I just feel that, not from everyone, of course, it's not every team. There are some teams out there. But I feel like the atmosphere and the level of intensity within international football just doesn't obviously match club football, which I'm not saying it needs to. But then I always feel like when I'm watching certain teams, like, even if it's not England, whether it's like France v Belgium, for example, example from the other day, like I was watching the game and I just felt like, I don't know, it just didn't feel, I don't know what the word is, man. I didn't feel the vibe. But obviously that's me looking at the top echelon of nations, right?
Yeah.
There are obviously thousands of other nations that I could potentially be watching, but I need you to explain it, man. What is so good about international football, bro?
Well, what I like about it is that you get a chance to see teams and players that you've never heard of before, and kind of different snapshots of every culture. Like watching the freaking, I did watch on for, what was it? It was Faroe Islands, North Macedonia. It was a decent little game. Like, wasn't a big time game by any means, but it was like, I got to check out, are there any good Faroese players? Maybe one or two is there. So I don't know. I kind of like that aspect of it, where it's like, you really get to go outside of the norm of what, even the top 5 leagues are still pretty popular around the world. Faroese football, not so much. So it's like you get the chance to look at that. I agree with you. I do. Like, here's how I'd put it. International football for me is like a 7 out of 10. The tournaments are like those 9s and 10s. And that for me is where club football's at, like 9 or 10 out of 10. But like, this period of the Nations League, it's like a 7. Maybe on a great international break, you got 8. I just feel like because it's so EPL centric, and because the club football experience is so big club centric, like these four, kind of less so of Lyon. Maybe Lyon of the 2000s were a bigger, more talked about team because they were a real serious team. But like these three teams are still like people are checking out what they're doing, aware of their players, manager situations. Maybe not watching them, but it's kind of awareness thing. But like I don't know. I just like Bolivia. Bolivia are not a good team at all. They're a horrible Copa America. They're now on the same. They're now 1 point off Brazil for CONMEBOL qualifiers.
True.
So Georgia just won back-to-back games. They keep it up there. What?
Didn't Brazil lose the other day to Paraguay? I'm sure they lost 1-0. Yeah, see, which I found, and again, this is would I say big up, by the way, honestly, love for the message. Maybe it's naivety from myself, and again, I'm here to hold my because I need to, I love football, so I want to be where Steve's at. I want to be where he's at.
Bro, can I give you an honest, real talk, real quick? Can I give you an honest CONMEBOL football is where it's at.
That's know what I can't lie.
I know that the times are difficult. The times and the access to the games are difficult. That's why.
It's you know what it is. It's not even that. I'm actually going to agree with you. I actually think. I'm actually getting bored more of European football because from what I'm seeing, and again, this is when, let's say, okay, so during the summer, the Copa America, right? I watched a couple of the games, during the summer, I was like, you know what, why not? Obviously the Euros is kind of done and dusted and it is what it was, right? But when I was watching that, I was like, there and only seems there, and sometimes with the African teams, depending on who it is, and it's actually the smaller African nations more so than the bigger ones. When I'm watching the games, I'm like, yo, this atmosphere, this is what I'm like. Even the game just feels like difference. Jesus Christ.
Atmosphere is a huge difference. Like Lyon fans are wild. Home away, they're wild.
100%.
Bad goals. So like that, and that's like George, like those like the Eastern European teams, they got like an ultra section. They go on, they're doing their thing. But like Germany and France and England, it's not the atmosphere. Really, I think that's a big difference. That's a big difference to me that is subtle to some people, but I notice it a lot.
No. I hear you, man. And obviously, of course, we're here to talk about, some of these club sides, in and around Europe. But just before we get into that, do you think, with, with English football, right? I'm not saying copy, but do you, actually, I lied. I am saying it. Do you think we should start copying more in terms of you see the ultra thing, okay, prime example, Liverpool played Toulouse last season in the Europa League. I promise you, from the first minute to the last minute, I heard forget the score, they lost I'm talking about when we played them at Anfield. They lost the game. They were going all game, bro. And then when you then flip it, when we went to Toulouse, bro, their fans were meant even as I'm watching it, I'm like, nah, you know what? That impressed me more than the players, because I was like, I don't see that in England. What you'll get is, and listen, Liverpool fans, it is what it is, right? But I'll see in some game, and it's not just Liverpool, because other teams, but in terms of, I'll see you'll go through periods in games. So some period of the game, fans are really wild, or it takes someone to do like a crazy challenge, and then the crowd are like up, or you need a goal here.
Xhaka and Trent in the
Xhaka and Trent, exactly.
Like you, game.
But it's like, I don't like when I'm thinking of fans, and this is why I respect all these other nations so much, like all these other countries, when I watch them at times, because I'm like, bro, even when your team is 3-0 down, I'm hearing the crowd still going wild, and I'm like, those kind of things I always feel, and this is why I 100% in the not too far future, right? I need to go to a game in a different country. Big up Michael again, because he spoke about, I can't remember where he went. I feel like he went to Argentina. I feel like Michael again, if you're here, let me know. He went to a game, and I was like, bro, that atmosphere looks mad. I'm trying to say, that looks absolutely crazy, and that's the kind of vibe that I would rather be in, as opposed to with English football. As I said, it's more periods. It's more, as you say, Xhaka versus Trent. If that doesn't happen, I promise you, the Liverpool crowd, because we was losing at the time.
2-0.
I think we was losing 2-0. So the crowd ain't gonna be, and I get it to one degree. Your team's losing, you almost feel like, why should I? But the whole point, I guess, of being a fan is because you're supposed to support the team, innit? So regardless of anything, you like I'm talking about. Listen, I might not be, and you know, and I respect these guys. I'm not talking about like the die hard, as in, yeah, like those type of fans, like the ones who will go really above and beyond, so to speak, because I'm sure that those fans will sing to their heart content, right? But you know, the majority, when I see, especially in this country, honestly, I don't rate it as much. That's why when we talk about stadiums and people say atmospheres, I'm always like, yeah, if you're talking one-off atmospheres, yeah, you can say Anfield, you can say, you know, Villa Park, yeah, like, yeah, you can say that for those one-off games, like Liverpool on a European night, yeah, they make up a bunch of noise. But I'm talking about what happens when Liverpool face Brentford, what happens when Liverpool facing Bournemouth, what happens when, you know, these not so big fixtures. Though that's where I'm looking at, because again, like I said, when I'm seeing some of the other teams in different nations, and I'm not talking just to lose, I'm talking all of these teams, from the big teams to the small teams, they're still making noise. The ultras are still singing, they're still chanting whatever it is that they're chanting. Like, I don't know, man, it's just a different vibe. But it's just something that popped into my head literally a minute ago. I was just sitting there thinking, why is it
the
like
atmosphere
that,
is everything, 100%. You know what it is? I look at it like this. You know, music. If you ever listen to have you ever listened to any rock song, and almost any song, if you turn the bass down all the way, there's no structure. There's no, it sounds horrible. When you have no bass guitar in a song that has the bass, it sounds dead. It's like there's the ultras and those, like the that kind of like constant noise. It's like the bass guitar for me. Without it, it's like, yeah, I still love, you know, football and all that, but it's just like there's something missing.
Yes.
That's exactly what it is for me. So, and by the way, quick note about Brazil. I feel like
I was going to ask you this question anyway. Yeah.
At this point for Brazil, it does no help for them to qualify for the 2026 World Cup. It's just the aesthetic. Like, that's why when a big nation misses out on the World Cup, we're always like, oh, you know, it's such a shame. The World Cup's going to be different if Netherlands didn't. They missed out a few tournaments, to be fair. Oh, it's not the same. It's not. You know why it's not the same? Because you don't see those yellow jerseys that you're always seeing on your TV, and the Brazilian crowd and the flags and the women. You know, like that. I feel like I literally feel like with Brazil, it's just an aesthetic thing or a cosmetic as to their inclusion. On a footballing merit, it does no good for us as viewers or for them as a footballing nation for them to be at the 2026 World Cup. Because if they don't qualify for this World Cup, trust me, they will fix up a lot quicker than qualifying for this World Cup, getting third place in some crappy group, and then getting eliminated by the next even half-decent team that they play in the knockout stage. It does a lot more. Sometimes you got to hit rock bottom to really change it. Yeah. And I just feel like if a Brazil qualified for this cycle, like, yeah, that's cool. You save face embarrassment on the short term, but like long term, nothing's going to change with them until they miss out on a World Cup, like a Germany have in the France or like a Germany or a France or whoever. England didn't make the Euros in 08. So I just feel like with this, it's and it's also just a nostalgia thing. So.
No. I agree, man. I agree, man. But as I said, man, guys, please make sure you are smashing the like if you are, even if you're just passing through, man, just hit that like button. And of course, Steve's link is literally in the description. So you don't have to do anything. Just click it. In fact, right click on your thing. It'll take you to a new tab. You'll be there in 2 seconds. You don't even have to turn us off. But of course, we're here to talk about Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Juve, and Leon. Obviously, as I mentioned, if you guys have watched the previous episode, I did speak about, you know, the transfer window now being done. Teams have now, because I know with Germany, they started their first league game after obviously the English league kind of thing. So I wanted to wait a little bit for them to just have a few more games before
the Pokal is always how you kick off the German season. The first weekend, the second weekend of in August, and then in the Bundesliga next round.
And there you go. So I said, you know what? Now we're here. It's 12th of September here. So I said, you know what? We can kind of just look at their, look at their kind of time so far this season. I know it, guys. I know it's only been a few games, but just like we did, for Slot and for Liverpool, I said I just wanted to take a look. That's why I said, no, I need to bring Steve in. Steve, chat to me, man. Obviously, Bayern Munich, that's your club. They've obviously gotten a new manager in Vincent Company. Him coming. I want to ask you about his kind of appointment. I don't think I spoke to you really about that, but I want to ask you first about how did Bayern fans take to that appointment, and how have you seen in terms of how well or not well do you think he's done since being here?
So first 3 competitive games, it's definitely a work in progress. In terms of like the overall Bayern München fans reception, I would say kind of mixed, but leaning towards the okay, we can see where this is kind of going sort of thing. It's the demands for success are still there as they should be, but I think most Bayern fans are on board with it. But we all realize that like, if you fail, then you got to go. What failure is for me, I can only speak
That's what I want to know
on this.
Yeah.
Like what constitutes as failure? The circumstances will do that. If you make if we don't win any trophies this year, but we get 94 points in the league and Leverkusen or Leipzig or whoever get 96, or they win on goal difference and we played our ass off and we have a real team now. Champions League final, if we lose that to Real Madrid on penalties, or in the Pokal, if we lose in a shootout, like whatever, like for the different levels of failure and the circumstances and context, most importantly, I think the word is best used. The context all around it for me matters, and how the team plays and performs. Because Xabi Alonso's Leverkusen were not flying out the gates as soon as he was appointed. It took him a minute to find something that works, build off of it, have a very good transfer window. Actually, they had a good window this summer and the last one. They built on it, and now they looking real serious. So that's kind of what I want to see. That's exactly what I want to see. Now, the first 3 games have been, you could tell it's a hell of a work in progress for sure. The Ulm game, we were pretty good. We buried them pretty early. They didn't provide any threat, really. The Wolfsburg game, this is my biggest concern with Bayern München, why I'm not picking us to win any trophies at the minute, because that defense, I'm sorry, you cannot sell your best defender, not replace him. You have a good recruitment, good signing in Hiroki Ito. He's out for 3-4 months or whatever it is, maybe 2. And then have Dyer, Upamecano, Kim Min-jae, who's just been really bad since about January of last season, and expect to win much, because defense, at the end of the day, you need to have a solid defense to win stuff. It at least has to be competent. So that's my biggest, and that was the biggest concern in the Wolfsburg game. It was like we were looking comfortable at one stage, but then mistakes, Upamecano, that this thing happens to him too much. Or if he makes a mistake, he doesn't recover well from it in game. He really doesn't. And then things can go from bad to worse. My biggest thing, though, is Thomas Muller revenge season coming up. It is. He has been a huge contributor so far in the first 3 games. And I thought the guy should have retired probably last summer. But if he keeps this up, if he keeps contributing at this kind of rate, he's not going to do it every game, but he is really showing like there's one last punch that he has to throw, and he'll be damned if he doesn't take that. So I'm very happy with that. In terms of the Wolfsburg game, it was the defensive concerns. In the Freiburg game, it was just like it never really climaxed, for the lack of a better term, I guess. It wasn't like we had domination, then we kept our foot on the gas. It wasn't really like that. We're kind of underwhelming in that game, and luckily Freiburg, they didn't have their best game going forward, but they were not frightened by us. I think that would be the big thing. At the Allianz, teams of the past would just sit back and hold on for dear life. Freiburg tried to, try to throw a punch in there or two. It just didn't land, really. So it's a big work in progress. And defensively, I'm always going to have my concerns. So that's kind of how I feel about Bayern München so far. And Company's lineup selection, particularly for the Freiburg game, was a bit crazy. And this is the one thing that can it's either going to elevate us, and it's going to be the company specialty of he changes up formations a lot. The personnel will sometimes change as well. The formations, though, he doesn't really have a consistent formation. Last year at Burnley, it was 4-4-2, sometimes 4-2-3-1. The first game against Man City, they played 5-4-1 or 5-3-2, one of those, 5 at the back. So I think he's just very adaptable week by week in terms of formations, which is either going to work really well or it's going to be kind of the death of us, because how do you expect players in all these different formations and positions trying to establish some chemistry sort of thing? That's what that is. You can't say the switching formations is a huge net positive or net negative. This is so early. But what I can say is that is either going to be the reason why we succeed and go on to do great things, or that's going to be why we fail. To be honest. Look at it. Have you seen the lineup for the Freiburg game? It was 4-1-4-1. We had about 6 attackers.
4-1.
And we didn't start João Paulinho as well. That's the other thing, too, that I'm very confused
it's a good answer.
Why is João Paulinho not playing? I don't have the answer for you. I am not sure. He hasn't had fitness concerns. It's not like he had an injury or anything. He hasn't had a bust up company or something. Bayern Munich have been looking for a holding midfielder since Javi Martinez. That's a long time.
I'll ask you this then.
Yeah.
Because again, and this is for you to kind of like let us know in terms of how Bayern are kind of really run, right?
Yeah.
Was that a company signing or a club signing? Remember, you wanted him last season with Thomas Tuchel, and then you've now got him in, and he's playing. Before I can see here, he's playing Pavlovic. He played Pavlovic in that, which by the way, I think is a good player. By the way,
I love Pavlovic.
Yeah.
He looks like a Toni Kroos regen.
Yeah,
he plays like what? Whether it's the quality and consistency and the excellence of Kroos, that remains to be seen. But he plays a lot like Toni Kroos. Same attributes, same weaknesses, same sort of thing. So, but yeah, I love bro. But for me, it would be a 4-2-3. Play Pavlovic and João Paulinho. That would make sense. But he hasn't done that yet.
But then who do you? Okay, so I'm looking at the lineup here. You had obviously Neuer, Kimmich, Upamecano, Kim, and Guerrero at the back. Obviously Pavlovic in that DM. Gnabry, Elise, Musiala, Matisse Tel, and then of course Kane up top. Who would you drop to play Paulinho?
It would be Gnabry, because I like Elise wide right.
Hey, make sure you take care of Elise. You know, make sure I'm saying he's like
he's been our player of the season so far through 3 games. Elise,
you know why? Because he's a bad boy. I keep telling people like Elite, like, and it's, you know what? I'm happy for him because now he gets to show his quality on a higher stage. Like, come on, we're talking about Bayern Munich, one of the biggest clubs in the world, right? So, of course,
and he doesn't look out of place.
That's what I wanted to see.
Out of place.
That's what I wanted to see, man. That's what I wanted to see. Before we move on, I got a question here, honestly saying, this is the big question. Do you think Musiala will stay? I saw the news yesterday. I was going to put up, actually, to be fair. I saw the news about Musiala and, of course, contract situation.
Yeah.
Talk to us, bro. Like, I mean, like I said, you know best when it comes to Bayern. So I'd rather you tell us, like, what is going on with that situation, if you know. But more importantly, do you see a world where he does leave next season?
Yeah, and it'll all depend on how much he believes in the project, to be honest. Okay. Same thing I think goes for Joshua Kimmich. Same thing goes for a few players. So I think ultimately that will be kind of the deciding factor. If we go on to win a treble, then I think he stays. I think if we even go on and win 2 of the 3 trophies available, I think he would stay. But if we go trophyless again, it's looking like sinking ship settings. And it's like, why would you? You know what I'm saying? Bro, a lot of people just assume that we're going to be winning this Bundesliga again. We're going to win a Pokal. We're a dark horse for Champions League. I got news for you people. I don't see any of those 3 happening at the moment. Last time Bayern Munich won the Pokal was when we had Flick as manager. It's coming off 4 or 5 years ago. So that's not a given at all. Obviously, the Bundesliga last year, I still don't think we had the right transfer window, to be honest. So there's a lot. It's it's a work in progress. But I think Musiala will be. Yeah, I mean, hey, game on, man.
Yo, I would absolutely. Everyone already knows. People in the chat, you guys already know the
player.
vibes. When it comes to Musiala, like if I could pick, I can't lie. If I could pick one player in the whole world, I'm always gonna say Musiala first. Like there isn't anyone else that I would say because I like, I don't think people understand, right? This is a player, right, I've seen play DM in a double pivot. I've seen him play central midfield. I've seen him as like a box-to-box midfielder. I've seen him play wide left, wide right, false nine, attacking midfield. Bro, I promise you.
He's a footballer.
He's a footballer, bro. He's so, like, you know what's actually mad though? If Barcelona were actually better, I actually think that would be a good fit for him to play for Barcelona. But you know, that's only because like the way he plays, I'll be honest, he reminds me, he's in my opinion, people, so don't shoot me. In my opinion, he gives me shades of Iniesta in the way that he plays football because it's not necessarily like he's quick-ish, but he doesn't. For me, it's not about the pace with him. It's about the movement. It's about the way
he's got quick feet, but he's not necessarily quick, as in yeah.
100%. Big up, honestly, saying I would pick Musiala and Valverde. Them at LFC, bro, we would dominate. You know what's so mad? Honestly, I don't actually care if we dominate. I just want him at the football club to at least say, "Yo, okay." And by the way, Elise as well. But like, if we could, like, if we had like someone like him, I just think that he's a player who can unlock defenses. So if you need him to play in that kind of role, he can do that. But he's also a player who, if you do want him to play on that wide left position, bro, he can take on his man. He can get in behind when he needs to get in behind. And he's so smart in and around the box. It's difficult to track those kind of players at times. Like, what they're going to do next? Where's he going to go? And sometimes, and this is why I say he reminds me of Iniesta. For those who remember Iniesta in his pomp, Iniesta will sometimes do the most basic movement, but it's the way that it's being done, that it's being done in such a way that you can't get the ball. Like, for some reason, Iniesta will do like a quick move the ball from one foot to the other and then he's off, and you're just like, well, how did you not? But it's just, you just don't know with these kind of players, man. So yeah, man. But yeah, and is it after that Liverpool G would find something you don't like? Nah. You know what the only thing is, if the manager, that's when I promise you, if Liverpool were to get a player like him, I promise you I'd be on the manager every single week. I'd be on the manager every week. I said, if you can't get the best out of one of the, and we're talking about a guy who's in his early 20s, by the way. Yeah. And to me, he's one of the best players in the world in his position. Yeah. 100%. So yeah, man. But let's move on. Let's go on. You know, we was talking about them offline, so let's talk about them, man. Leon. Now, obviously, Leon had an eventful summer. If I'm being honest with you, signed quite a lot of players. In comparison to, I remember at the beginning of last season, I I didn't really know what was going on, and then I saw that there were whatever was going on with the
ownership change.
Okay, so
Jean-Michel Aulas sold all of his shares, and John Textor came in. Yep, that's what.
Okay, cool. Okay, so guys, see, there you go. You've now got it there. So all of that was going on, and Leon weren't spending no money. And we saw Leon last season. They had obviously, what's the manager's name that they had last season? It wasn't Sarge. It was who's the started off the season? I was literally looking at his face because I saw a picture of him doing something. I can't remember what he was doing. But anyways, the previous manager that they had there, it just wasn't working out. It just wasn't working out, for Leon, and the football being played, and it just seemed, from obviously this from the outside looking in, it just seemed like everything was just at a shit still up here, not even a standstill, it was a shit still, because ownership.
And then it doesn't help when that guy, sorry to cut you off, it doesn't help when that same guy, after you lose, I forget which game he lost, but one of the reporters asked him for Canal Plus. They were like, so what would help this Leon team to recover? He's like, probably change the manager would help. And that's probably where you saw yeah, that's probably where you saw it, to be honest.
And this was it, and I was just like, right, and like, obviously, like I said, we spoke about this in the back office, right? Yeah. The Leon I remember isn't the Leon that I see today, and I'm not talking the Leon of the last 5 years. I'm talking Juninho Leon. So anytime Benzema, I used to think of Benzema, Ben Arfa, like Chris, I'm talking about
fullback.
they had Michel Bastos, the left back.
They also had the Chelsea midfielder, Essien.
SCN.
Essien.
But listen to the names that we're bringing up, bro. Like these are some top class players, right? That's the Leon that I remember. Now, I haven't been following them obviously like really that much, since then. But when I was starting this series and I looked into them like last season, I was just like, rah, like they were going through hell. Like it seemed like in terms of couldn't spend the money, ownership, obviously, change of ownership and all of that kind of stuff. But obviously, Pierre came in. And listen, they had a fortune in their results, and then they ended up making the Europa League come the end of the season. Now, chat to me, obviously, just a little bit about him in terms of how have you seen his full time? I don't want to say this season so much because it's just started, but in terms of him coming in, do you think he is because I've seen some people say different, but do you think he's a good fit right now for Lyon?
Yeah, I would say so because he steadied the ship and done a remark. He basically did what what's it called? What Unai Emery did with Villa. He basically did that because Villa were looking like a relegation team. They sacked Gerrard, and then in the same season, they went on to get Conference League. Lyon did one better with way less time as well. They fired Laurent Blanc after, was it the 3-0 Marseille? No, it wasn't. It was after. Looking here on the scores, they hired him. I think it was after the Rennes game of last season. But no, they sacked him in November of last season, and they had won one game up until then.
There you go.
And then they did a complete turnaround. They were one of the better teams in Europe over from like December onwards of last season up until the end of last season. They made a Coupe de France final as well. Yeah, it was crazy, man. It was crazy. Right. But yeah, overall with Pierre Sage, yeah, I'd say he's a good fit because he's very adaptable and he succeeded in circumstances that, again, I thought they were going to get relegated last year in December.
Same.
I thought they were done and dusted. And then they make Europa. That's incredible.
Yeah, that's bad. That's so bad.
Crazy. Yeah, so clearly he's got something about him, and style of football is pretty good. The defense is a bit of an issue, but they, with selling their best center back, Jake O'Brien, to Everton. It's a crime, by the way, that he doesn't start for Everton. It's a crime, and it's no wonder.
How shit. Yeah, I was just about to say.
You got Trap House Tarkowski, and you've got fucking Michael Can't defend. Yeah, like you're just whatever. That's Everton's problem, not mine. But they do have a bad boy center back, so they sold him. That's a big miss for sure. But yeah, I just think I like the way
been a bit shaky for them though. It has
that Monaco game was so one-sided. It was unbelievable. They got outshot 21-1, and Lyon looked like the team the entire game that were on a red card. I do think that speaks to how Monaco have started the season. They started the season very, very well. But yeah, they got destroyed that game. The Rennes game as well, they just counterattacked them to death, and it was these errors up near the middle.
Bro,
of the
errors was what was pissing me off.
The middle of the park, when the defender got on the ball, they would just try and turn, and then boom, someone's picking you off and going the other way and scoring easy. So I think the defense is something they got to really fix up, but they've got this fighting spirit for sure, and that was on display, of course, against my boys Strasbourg. 3-1 down, 4-3 up. I mean, we just fell on our ass after we scored in the 58th minute. It was Emega who scored on a breakaway. He had like 2 chances previously that he couldn't bury. But yeah, it's just like that. The Lyon, the 4-3 win, the Lyon, that's more reflective of Lyon than the previous 2 games. And we saw that last year, by the way, when Lens, because people are like, who are Lens? And then they played Arsenal in the champs. People are like, they're 16th in Ligue 1 right now. They're not a good team. I'm like, no, they're a good team. A really, really good team. But, like, they just start off their season crap. What do? Go and beat Arsenal. And I said to people, like, that is the real true reflect. So that's what I believe with Lyon. So, yeah, I mean, a rough start so far when you get your ass beat like that against Monaco, who should have scored some more goals, to be honest. But, yeah, I just think they've got to fix up their transition defense. They really do. They just get countered far too easily.
That's what I don't like about whenever I watched like I've watched one game and the other two I've watched as highlights. But the one game I did watch was that Rennes game, and I remember just sitting there thinking, bro, like, because I remember sitting there thinking, okay, let's sit here and watch Leo, let's see what they're about, let's see what they're, and then I was just like, bro, is this like, did I just waste my time doing this? Like, I should have chosen another team because this is just is awful. But it was interesting because I was like, obviously, it's difficult when the goals that being conceded are through errors and stuff like that. So I'm well, some of them anyway were conceded obviously through errors. So I'm like, okay, can I really? I can't base my whole thought process on
perception.
Sorry, perception. That's the right word, perception. So do I then just say, okay, do I wait another game? And then, as you say, the game against Strasbourg, but then again, I'm still looking at it thinking, there's still little bits in the way that you guys play that, not to disrespect Strasbourg, but the fact that Strasbourg were even, able to get those 3 goals on a different day, that result goes a different way. So yes, you got the win, and that's good. And listen, they needed to get 3 points just on the board, first and foremost. But how sustainable is this going to be? And this is why I asked you at the beginning about, Pierre Sarge, is that like, do we think that he's going to be able? Obviously, it's only the beginning, guys. I know, so it's only 3 games. So I'm going to obviously give everybody time to do what they need to do. But at the moment, and obviously, what's the Georgian striker's name? How do you pronounce it?
Georgios Mikwatadze.
When they got him in, again, it's only 3 games, but I've not been too impressed with his performances in those 3 games, considering he is brought in as, this is the guy that's going to help us.
He got back this summer. He got back.
Yeah, true. And this is what I'm saying. So I'm like, ugh. But like I said, guys, it's only 3 games. It's only 3 games. So we'll give it some time. Honesty's asking question. Speaking in the French league, is it me or does PSG look more fluid now than before?
Oh my God, yeah. Oh my God, yeah. To be honest, Mbappe's been on a bit of a decline of the past few years.
Which is funny.
Like, in terms of, I still think he's at a super high level, but he's got to get back to that high level when he was at Monaco and early a few years at Paris Saint-Germain. But he was just focused on the goal getting, really. Everyone played to him, through him, all that. It wasn't the best for the team. But, like, yes, they are so fluid. They're so good to watch. That midfield 3 of Vitinha, João Neves, and
João Neves,
I mean, that's such it's a dynamic, high energy midfield 3 that Enrique's got them. They're a really, really good team. People are gonna like, people that don't watch Paris Saint-Germain, they're gonna be talking a lot about what they don't know because they think Mbappe leaves that they get worse. That's not the case, because Bradley Barcola is coming for that spot to be the king of Paris. He's a very good player.
Again, another player that I was saying, guys, and big up John. He's the one who does the music intros for myself. He supports Leon, right? And he's been talking about so many. He was talking to me about what's his name? De La Queta, the centre back. Yes. He was talking about him way back when Liverpool were linked with him before we got Kanate.
When he was at Southampton.
Exactly. So I was like, rah, like, okay, whatever. Then he schooled me on like, he was the one who told me about Lukeba. He told me about Bradley Barcola, and I was like, okay, let me check these guys. And obviously 2 players that I would blatantly take, at Liverpool after seeing them now for the last couple of seasons. Barcola is a fantastic player, man. I think that guy, as you said, he's coming for that throne. He's saying to Mbappe, hey, look, you're not in France anymore, man. So I could take this throne for myself in terms of French players, in terms of being the number 1 French player, over here in this league. And it wouldn't surprise me if he was, to be honest with you, because I think he can reach, those kind of levels,
good, man. He's awesome.
100%. Honesty question: would you take Davis? You're talking about Alfonso. Yes,
of course.
Yeah, I've always liked Davis.
Liverpool need a left back. Of course you take it. Yes, of course.
I'll take him ASAP. Now let's move on to, this is probably the most interesting one. This one's probably the most interesting one, and that's Thiago Motta's Juventus. Now, as we know, Juventus are Juventus at the end of the day. We all know, obviously, the situation that happened last season, obviously with Allegri, obviously with him then being told, sorry, mate, here's your P45, and you can now leave the football club. So of course they were then on the lookout, and then they decided, you know what, Thiago Motta is the man for the job. Which, by the way, I feel he fully deserves, but I would have liked to have seen him for one more season, just one more season,
Yeah.
and then see how far he can. It was a Bologna. See how far he can take them first, and then. Yeah, but listen, like I
Like
said,
what
I still
Michelle
think
is
he
doing,
deserves it.
what Michelle is doing at Girona, basically.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. Let me see you, because obviously we know, obviously, you know, some of your players are, of course, they're gonna leave, they're gonna get poached by other clubs. But how do you then do with you know, Champions League and all this kind of stuff? I just want to see how they do. But listen, he's gone to Juventus now. Do you think it was a good like a good manager to bring in for Juventus? And how have you kind of liked his start or not liked his start?
Oh, of course it was the right hire. Yeah, for sure. I thought it made sense for all parties involved. Juve have needed to freshen things up for a few years now. It's not even just like a rough 1 or 2 seasons. They just haven't been the Juve since the last time they had CR7, last time they won the league. That was about 4 years ago. So, I mean, yeah, they've needed to refresh things a lot, get new players in, get a new style going, give something. Just they needed to refresh things so bad, because watching Allegri football was just nobody wants to do that, right? And if you're not winning things, then it's not worth anything. To be honest, it's there's no progress being made. They weren't getting any better at defending than they already weren't good at in the first place. So it's like, what was the point of keeping him? They saw that and they parted ways. With Malta, he'll give you that solid defense, super solid. I mean, it doesn't look like they're going to ever concede a goal. They obviously will, but it just doesn't look like it doesn't look like they're going to get their ass beat anytime soon or even concede. So, yeah, that's what we saw at Bologna with Motta. Like defensively, just outstanding organization, keeping things real simple. Everyone knows their assignments man for man. Yeah, just a spectacular balance. But it is more defensive minded, which is the Juve way of doing things. You want to be solid at the back and then have enough goals. So, like for me, yeah, the first 2 games in particular, like going forward, they were looking good, but still very very solid defensively. And then the Juve Roma game happened. It's like this is the problem with Dusan Vlahovic, man. It's like you can score against these little teams. I get it, great. You didn't play a terrible game against Roma, but you're missing.
No, he didn't.
Easy chances, my guy. You are missing some easy chances.
I
exist around you.
I was going to ask you. Okay, I'll ask you 2 things. I guess it's a 2-part question. One, how have you rated their transfer window? Obviously, the incomings and outgoings. And 2, do you rate, or how highly do you rate Vlahovic?
So the transfer window is really good. One of my buddies, Alejandro, who lives in Belgium, he's an Italian Juve fan. He was shocked with how much money that Juve spent, and that the whole the rebuild. They actually they backed him, just like Pierre Sage at Lyon. They're actually backing their guy. Same thing at Atletico Madrid with Simeone. They are rebuilding. A lot of players in, a lot of players out. There's some pretty there's a lot of money flying around. To back the managers. So, yeah, I think that rebuild was terrific. They needed new wingers. They got that, even though Chiesa left. But yeah,
and Saul left Saul left as well. I remember Michael talking about him a while back, and he seemed anyway. And I don't want to speak for Michael, but he seemed kind of shocked that they did let him go as well as Chiesa. You know, I was a bit baffled. I was more baffled that more Saul leaving, because I was like, I thought he was
Saul at Atletico Madrid.
I think he's gone to Atletico. I'll double check where he went. I just remember him leaving.
No. Saul was an Atletico Madrid player that went to what's it called? Sevilla on loan.
No. Matthias Saul.
Oh, Soule.
Sorry.
Yeah,
that's my English people.
Yeah, they just saw an opportunity there to get money on a homegrown player. So it was one of those sort of things.
Oh, okay. Fair.
Yeah. So, but yeah, their youth though, like Nicola Savona, the right back, played in an emergency situation. I think it was against it was either both games against Como and Verona, one of them. He looks good. Cambiaso had to play at right wing both games. He actually looked pretty good. But yeah, like Thuram, Kefren Thuram, that's a great signing because it'll give you balance in midfield.
Got him for
Very good
cheap as
signing.
well.
Douglas,
Super cheap.
yeah, Douglas Luiz, that's a great signing.
It's another good
Koop Miners is a brilliant attacking midfielder.
Is he injured?
Eight.
Is he injured?
Nah, he just didn't get
Oh,
what's it called? I think he just didn't train with Atalanta. But he did come
okay.
off the bench in the Roma game with 30 left or something like that. But yeah, I think that's going to be a superb signing.
You can see like getting in Kefren Turam, Douglas Luiz, Koop Miners. That's your three midfielders that he's trying to.
Conceição as well from Porto, the winger on loan.
And these are the and that's but this, you see, look, I like Conceição, and listen, I have no idea how this season goes for him. It might go fantastic, so I might have egg on my face. But when you let Sule go, I felt like those two are similar in terms of the role. But again, I'm sorry, I'm thinking as I'm speaking, but I guess he sees something in Conceição as to the reasons as to why he can let Chiesa go, he can let Sule go, and then you've got in a Conceição. Because I felt like, you could have kept Sule and you could have still let Chiesa go, no worries. But I would have kept Sule because I like Sule. I think Sule is a very, very good, very, very good player. But listen, I'm not the manager, so I'm not going to sit here and speak as if I know what he's thinking. But Thiago Motta seems like someone who we saw with Bologna last season. One of the things in terms of his style of play, it's almost like this guy is like a doctor. Like the way he was surgically doing things, like I was like, the way. And I remember, I think we did a watch along. I was
Bologna Roma,
Bologna Roma, and I can't lie, Steve showed me in that game. I was like, because that was the first time I'd watched them live, and I remember coming back. I remember like sitting there like randomly a few days later, thinking, but this Thiago Motta, like the way he's got the Xerxes and these guys playing, like he's got them playing that
beautiful pattern to play going forward. Beautiful.
If he had better players, i.e., moved to a Juventus, a bigger club with more money, you can see that this could look absolutely dangerous. And right now, they're sitting joint top, obviously with three other teams, but they're sitting, at the top of, top of the table. So listen, man, this is it's a new era. I feel, with them. So, and having someone like Thiago Motta, who's more of obviously Allegri's Allegri. Listen, look, how it ended is how it ended, but we know who Allegri is. You know what I mean? We know the trophies that he's won at Juventus. But when you've got such a forward-thinking manager in Thiago Motta, I mean, it's there a lot of these clubs. You can see it now with all of these clubs because like the Jurgen Klopps and the Jupp Heynckes and all these kind of elder managers that we all knew were like the top level managers, right? Now that they're all starting to leave, and obviously Antonio Conte is at Napoli, I know, but I guess people don't rate him as highly as you would rate, say, others, right? But those are the elder statesmen. Look at all the forward-thinking managers we're seeing. Mikel Arteta. I said, listen, Steve's talked about Arne Slot quite a lot. You've got the Ruben Amorims, you've got the Xabi Alonsos, you've got all of these new forward-thinking managers, guys that most of them we've seen play, who are showing, hey, listen, look, I've got some ideas. I can take football into a whole new kind of, would we say, future, kind of thing. So listen, man, it's exciting. It's exciting. It's exciting.
And
he was on loan. I think he was. Yeah, he did play there.
He didn't play too much, so he was homesick allegedly. I think I saw something like that. But yeah, I'm gonna just keep with Juve under Motta. I'm gonna keep banging on about it, bro. The defense, look at that. Di Gregorio is a brand new signing. It looks like he's been there for years. So he's not facing too much on target, anyways. I don't think he's made like 3 saves in 3 games combined. Roma were not a threat at all.
Yeah.
But like the Nicolo Savona, brand new player from the Juve Next Gen Academy. Looks like he's been there for years. Gatti is not a great player, but he's performing well under Motta's system right now. Again, the strengths are elevated and the weaknesses are not really there. Bremer, there were doubts about him playing in a 4 at the back, like a ball playing sort of thing. He's looked pretty good as well. And then Juan Cabal, they signed him from Hellas Verona for cheap. He looks good as well. So it's like they're not working with superstars, all-stars, all-time 11 sort of thing. It's a youth player, 2 youth players, a good experienced center back in Bremer, and Gatti, who I don't really think is quite good enough for Juve as a starter, but it looks really good. So if he keeps playing like that, they could do something. And then Di Gregorio was at Monza. So it's not, and that's the difference between a company and a multi right now. It's like Bayern's backline cost and the pedigree of the players allegedly versus Juve's. It's night and day, really, in a lot of aspects. But one looks defensively solid, like they're never going to concede a goal, and then the other, it looks like anyone could score on them if they just get some passing right. So, it's super impressive. But they are a little bit gun shy going forward. But when they do go forward, there's real intent. They select when they're going for and all that. But I do have to say, Roma defensively looked a lot more solid in that game. It wasn't a good game to watch, but both teams were
I think it was more about containment from what I saw anyway.
Yeah, it was one of those chess match games. Yeah. Nobody really wanted to make the move that might lose them the game compared to going all out to
Who would you and maybe Vlahovic is the one. If Juve were to sign a striker realistically, who would that be? Because I still have my doubts about Vlahovic really performing at the top level personally. But that again, I'm not saying right or wrong. Just that's me personally. I've just never. There was maybe a period where I was like, yeah, he's a good striker.
Fiorentina. Like
but even okay, I'll say Fiorentina and maybe a season at Juventus. I would say, okay, this is a striker you could look at, but I'm still not convinced. I feel like he's only going to be able to work in. You'll see by the end of his career that he won't stay at Juve for the entirety of his career. I think he'll go somewhere else, maybe like a Fiorentina level potentially, but slap it over there. But he'll be content with that because that will almost be the level I feel that he can kind of obtain. And I don't know what that means for that type of team, but I just don't see him as like, he's not on the next level. I don't know. There's something about him. But if you had to pick a striker, just randomly, who do you think would be like a good fit for them?
It'd be Jonathan David on a free next summer. Fits perfectly what they want to play.
Jonathan David.
Honest to God, he fits the way they want to play. Juve, if the money thing is a concern, then you go get him on a free. He'll bring you a lot of value. Physicality I like from him. I like his awareness, like in space. He picks out passes. He's unselfish. He'll score you goals. Penalties, he's automatic. Like that's a damn good striker there, bro. And that would fit with his sort of multi-style play very well. I think that would probably be the guy I go for, to be honest.
Jonathan David. Listen, we've heard about Jonathan David for eons, So I'm dying to finally see him move on, from Lille and potentially make that step up. Just before we do move on, guys, as I said before, man, smash the like button, man. Smash the like button. As I said before, go head on over to Strasbourg Steve's channel. It is in the bloody caption. You ain't gonna do no work. I've done it for you. Just before we move though, Honestly is asking question: why is Rugani stealing a payday at Juve? He is their version of Vallejo. That's a bit
actually rude. Rugani got loaned out to somewhere. I have to double check. Actually, he got loaned out to Ajax actually. So he's still in their money now. But yeah, he's bang after.
He's got a question for you. Who's bigger? Who's the bigger Juventus legend? Pirlo, Del Piero, Cannavaro, or Buffon?
I'll go at Buffon.
That's what I would think. Buffon.
You can go wrong with any of. I mean, Pirlo's a legend at 3, really. So I Del Piero was obviously brilliant. And kind of, I'd probably say Buffon.
I'll go Buffon, Del Piero.
Yeah, probably. How long was Del Piero at Juve for?
He was there for like his whole. Let me even check. He was there. Alessandro. 1993 to 2012.
Oh, so he was a one club man, yeah.
Well, he moved on to Sydney and Delhi Dynamos. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he played in India. That's right.
Hey, man, like Del Piero,
Mostly a one club man, 530. Yeah. I'd probably go Buffon just because there were other strikers that would also kind of like Buffon was the goalkeeper for Juve for all this time.
Facts. All right, let's move on to our last club. This is a club that people know. You can see the shirts behind me. Somewhere. It's tucked in. It's tucked in there behind me, man. And that's Barcelona, man. That is Barcelona, FC Barcelona. Now, before I get Steve's take, I'll just kind of give you my kind of thing on it. Is that one of the things I said when they appointed Hansi Flick was Flick in isolation is a good manager, very good manager. Of course he is. He's he's a manager I would have taken at Liverpool as an example. Like that's how good I think he is. But the way that I saw him play, you got to remember the way that Barcelona are, or the way I thought they were anyway, is that it's almost like for them to work, they needed a certain type of manager, i.e., the Luis Enrique's, the Pep Guardiolas, Mitchell, exactly, like that style of manager. But since Hansi Flick has come in, though, I'll be honest. Yes, Valencia game, I watched that game. Yes, there were a few, rough first half, but then you could see, okay, he's building. And then since then, I know we was joking about, the Real Valladolid game, and I remember sitting there thinking, it's mad though when I think about it, because forget that the scoreline was so crazy and whatever. Just watch the way that they were actually playing. You can see it starting to click, and obviously you can see with players like Rafinha in this kind of new role. Whew, okay, this Rafinha, this is the do you get what I'm trying to say? Like this looks different, because now I'm like, oh, so this is why they bought him. Now I'm okay though. This is why, because he's actually being used properly. Obviously with Yamal, obviously on the other side. Even Lewandowski. Yes, Lewandowski is always going to be Lewandowski. He's always going to score goals. He's not going to do too much running.
But it didn't look like that for a lot of last year. I think that's the big thing.
Yes, and that was my kind of thing. But how have you kind of seen, man? With Barcelona, man, have you been impressed? Like, what's with you?
I would say the first 3 games, the first halves were a bit rough, and they did, I think, concede in all 3 of those first halves. But the second halves in all the game, they're clicking. They're stringing some nice passes together. Teamwork is there, and honestly, Hortensia is right. Fermin Lopez is having a breakout year. He is having man, he is awesome. I like watching plays like that. I really do. So, and Rafinha, he's proven me wrong, because I only thought this guy could play right wing.
Same.
Because at Leeds fans were saying he can't play left wing. He cannot play left wing. He just can't. He can't. It doesn't. He was always just a right wing guy, and it makes sense. But on the left now, he is. This is why you bring in a Hansi Flick, because he can do these sort of things, like what he did at Bayern. What I was talking about with Javi Martinez earlier. Javi Martinez, solid player. He's good, but when you have a Hansi Flick there, when it takes like kind of a good player to looking like a staple of a team, a player that I wish I appreciated more his time at Bayern, Javi Martinez. Like that's what you pay the manager to do. That's why people regard him as one of the best in the world. Because Rafinha, at times in his Barca career, looked like a lost cause.
Yes.
And to be 100%. Honest, it was like, when are you ever going to show me, like you said, why'd you pay Leeds all that money for you? And he's showing it now. So he just looks so much more sharp, so much more aggressive, more confident. Like the guy is he's on fire. And Kubarsi
is going to be a top defender.
Because people are saying about La Masia, is it really as good as it used to be? Is it?
No, it's
alive and well. It is alive and well. You got Hector Fort comes in, left back, right back. He looks like a natural. Fermin Lopez, Lamine Yamal. I mean, that guy's one of the best players in the world, and he's 17.
Literally.
Mark Casado had a good game against Valladolid as well, and I think a few of the others. Like, bro, that academy is ridiculous. It's absurd.
I think people need to. Understand. Yeah, you see when it comes to the Barcelona academy,
Alejandro Balde as well. How can I forget what a super player he is.
I was literally even just looking at the players, and I was like, bro, like half their team is like academy products. It's so rare for you to people need obviously everyone in the chat's a Liverpool fan, right? Look at the way that we talk about our youngsters, but those youngsters are not even necessarily making first team at this moment in time. Yes, you could say the team's obviously what it is, but they're not making first team and haven't really done so ever, other than Trent. if we're being honest. Trent is the only youngster who we can say that's a first team on the squad.
Elliott is a
all of them.
solid squad player. But
yes,
more,
but not not like
good
yeah
player.
he's a good player, but he's not like he's not going to be
He's
starting
not
games.
at Fermin Lopez level.
Yeah, and I'm just like, guys, like people need to remember like even when Barca would I say going through a like tough period or whatever, they're still the only club I know that can Pedri, like, not Pedri, Gavi, like they're still able to produce players that you just sit there and think to yourself, how? Like many clubs, they have to buy in a lot of these players. These guys are producing all of these players. Like it is, for me, it's the best academy in the world. It has to be. I'm sorry, but you cannot have an. I'm not even to forget the Xavi, Iniesta, Messi. Like that is just some mad anomaly that you will never see again.
That's
I'm just
their
talking
version
about
of class
now.
of '92.
Yes. Oh. Listen, listen. The class of '92 got nothing on Barcelona's team, just from a pure talent wise. But yes, the class of '92 was a dope dope kind of period. But when you look at it, how many teams can sit here as Steve just said there? Yeah, you got about like. I'm looking at their team and I'm just like, bro, they've got too many players who are just academy players, and these are players that are now turning into first teamers. And as you said, Hector Ford, like they got too many Casado, like it's so ridiculous. And now, but not like it's too dumb, man. It's too dumb. And this is why I always say, bro, you got to just rate. You really just got to rate. You know what Barcelona are doing. But last question before we kind of head out of here. Do you think Barcelona could win the league?
Yeah. To be honest, because they might it's similar to Arsenal, Man City right now in the Prem. It's like you're dropping points, Arsenal and Real Madrid. You're dropping points at stupid occasions. You really are. And the schedule, like the Madrid derby's coming up, I think in the next 2 weeks. And then Real Madrid got champs. They've got an Endrick that still needs to blood in, and Atletico Madrid are hanging right in there. So yeah, they could win the La Liga. They could win a Copa del Rey for sure. And I think they are what people think Bayern Munich are, to be honest. Like they are a true dark horse. They are a true dark horse for champs. I wouldn't be surprised if they made a semifinal if Lamine Yamal keeps playing like this, if Lewandowski, Koundé. The only question I have about Barca is goalkeeper, Ter Stegen. I do think his best days are behind. I do think some of the
bro,
to
Stegen. By the way, I agree with you. I personally feel they should go out and start looking for a goalkeeper.
Yeah,
I see that, and that's why I thought about the whole Mamardashvili thing. I was like, he would have been a good goalkeeper for Barcelona.
Oh my god,
But on I know this is a bit off topic, but on FIFA, not FIFA, FIFA. You see on there he's rated like 89 for next season for the new game that's going to come out. He's rated at 80. Bro, 89. That's the same rating as Alisson. I was like, right, they rate him on the same level as Alisson. Wow, that's
half the goalkeeper Alisson is right now.
Yeah. I was shocked. Listen, look, like, I'm not gonna overgas it, but I was like, nah, Alisson's probably the best goalkeeper in the world. So the reality is, if you're gonna rate him that highly,
fall short of the mark. That's cool.
Yeah. But yeah, like, hey, listen, man. As I said, I don't play these games because they're dumb, and this is the reason why. Because you got stupid ratings like that. Because now on the game, he's just gonna be just highly, like, it's gonna be unable to beat him in goal because he's just rated so highly. He's probably gonna have crazy stats.
Yeah.
It's silly, man. It's silly. But guys, of course, we have come to the end.
Wait, do you think Barca can win La Liga?
Yes, bro. There's no even talking about. I think that this season, I think the point that you made is the only reason why, though, is that Real Madrid, you're dropping points at like a silly point. Like you shouldn't be dropping points. I'll be honest with you.
4 points behind.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that's a lot because you could easily catch that up over the course of a season, right? But what you don't want is for that to be too far down the line where you're coming up to December and you're still 4 points.
And then you play them head to head, and all of a sudden that goes from 5 to 8.
Exactly. But that's where I feel that's where I will know the real Barcelona. How good are you really when they face off in that El Clasico, Atletico Madrid, Girona? Like when they face these teams, basically the teams you guys can see on your screens right now. Let them play them first. Let me see what that looks like after they've had their head-to-head matches, and I think we'll get a better idea. Like Girona as well, by the way. Don't sleep on these guys. Not winning
That's
the
gonna
league,
be a
just
great game on Sunday. Yeah.
do you get what I'm trying to say? So yeah, and I think that's where I see it. But I still do have
Real
a
Madrid
few
center back
question
depth
marks.
as well might be a reason why they don't win it in Barca do.
Yes.
Real Madrid center. I mean, Militao just got injured for Brazil. What other center backs? They let go Nacho, Vallejo. I think they'll go like this center back is they're gonna have to go back to Chouameni playing center back, which he looks good there. That's not a problem.
But you don't want him there. You don't.
Then
really
you have to
want
take him out of midfield for someone else, and Bellingham's injured, and this is where the vicious cycle. That's why Madrid didn't have a good transfer window last summer.
Yeah.
They brought him in Mbappe, so it gives you that 6 out of 10 by default. But then when you realize what they lost, it's like honestly, I don't think people have deeped it, but letting go of someone like a Joselu, they don't have all of their attackers are pretty small. Joselu is a completely different profile. He's not at the caliber. He's not a high-quality player, but he'll get you a headed goal. He'll get you a goal in this game, that game. I mean, he did it against Bayern Munich in the semifinal, the 1-2 bang. So
they needed like
Hendrick gonna do that?
No. You know what they needed? Man. They needed like a Fulkrug. They needed like a striker like
Morata.
Morata, even a Morata.
Morata started off his career brilliantly as a backup striker to them.
And I think he can do that job well.
He was
I feel like he can, you know what I mean? I feel like he can definitely do that job well. But we'll wait and see, man. We'll wait and see. Big up everybody who's obviously been tuned in this afternoon. As I said before, Steve's link is in the caption. Just before we head out, I starred a couple of comments and if it's Joselu is used as a poacher when that's what I said. Fulkrug, like, but Joselu, Morata, like they needed you need a selfless striker who doesn't mind sitting on the bench, but who's different to the strikers or the attackers that you have got. You can't have the same guy like an Hendrick. Yes, he'll sit on the bench, but he's kind of the same as the other players that you've got, just obviously not to that level, but he's the same in terms of what he can do. So I'm like, fair enough, but you need something a little bit different at times because when Vinicius or Rodrigo or Mbappe are doing their thing, who's in the box? Arda I like him. He's a really, really good player, by the way. Honestly, Liverpool begun initial talks with Trent Alexander-Arnold over a new long-term contract. I hear it. Let's hope that gets sorted. Off topic, G. Monday, City's case starts. If found guilty, do you want them to run us our Prems or just send them to League Two?
Running Liverpool the Prems, by the way, like that's a bit of a killjoy, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I don't want that.
It's an online flex. You could use it as an online flex.
Yeah, but I'm not.
The title parade, that's gone. The players that should have won at the time, that's gone. It's like getting your Christmas present like 6 months after. It's like
it's like thanks, but Christmas is gone now. Like I don't need all of that. No, just send them to League Two because I think you can then from there. Now the league becomes a bit more competitive. Do you know what I mean? Like now it's
Arsenal, it's your competition. There you go.
Yeah, man, and that if say City weren't here and we only had Arsenal to contend with, then you'll
favor you guys every time.
Exactly, and this is the reason why. But guys, big up to everybody in the building. Please make sure, as I said, if you're watching this on the replay, make sure you smash that like button, share, and subscribe. Steve, before we head out, have you got anything for the people? Anything coming up? Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's good. Just watch alongs. On Friday, I'll be doing Saint-Etienne Lille. Saturday, I'm doing like 3, 4, 5, or whatever I feel like doing. And then Sunday, same kind of thing. And then Monday, and then Champs is next week, which I'm looking forward to a lot. So
that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, that's about it. That's about it, really, on my side of things. Yeah, big up, bros. Thank you for having me.
Come on, man. It's always love. Guys, hit that like button on your way out. I'll catch you tomorrow. Yes, I think tomorrow's Friday. Yeah, okay, I'll do
preview.
Yeah. I'll be here for my preview because I know Arne Slot, he likes doing these things at 9:30 in the morning. Okay, like we ain't got shit to do. But first, let's just get that one out of the way. So make sure you guys, of course, tune into that. Catch you next week. Peace.